So let's transition to our next section of the app. It's called Search and Compare. In this section, you can compare different players, either from your own team or a player from your team with a player of a different team, or two players from two different teams. And you can also choose a metric. For example, let's say you want to compare Harvey Grant from Fuerza Regia with Jason Page from Plateros. And here you can select which metric do you want to use. Let's say we want to compare them on usage rate. And here we can see both players. We get an interpretation for the comparative analysis, where the app tells us that the average usage rate for Harvey Grant is 28, while the average usage rate of Jason Page is 44. So you can, again, choose a team from your league, you choose a player, you choose the player that you want to compare the first player against, and metric, points, field goals, 3-point percentage, free throws, rebounds, all the traditional box score metrics or categories, and also our specialized metrics such as approximate value, game score, and all the other metrics that we used on the player evaluation section. Our next feature on the search and compare section is the player search. This is like a regular search where you can search for players that play. For example, you want to search for, and it doesn't matter if it's from your team or a different team, as long as it's from the same league. So let's say you want to search for Josue Andreassi. You type it in, and you get Josue Andreassi's stats, the data set, game by game, with all the metrics. And we also have another section or feature on this search and compare section called similar player analysis. Let's say you want to recruit or trade a player, or you want to replace a player that has a very similar profile from a different player on your team. So let's say you want to, let's say here you can see all the players from the league, not only from your team, but entire league. And let's say Terrell Brown. So you select Terrell Brown, and the app shows that the most similar player to Terrell Brown, based on offensive metrics, is Javier Carter. And here you can see Javier Carter's stats, points, assists, offensive rebounds, which are offensive metrics. And you see the most similar player on defense. So the most similar player to Terrell Brown on defense is Brooks the Bishop. And you can also see stats, defensive rating, defensive stops, and you also see the most similar player on performance. The most similar player to Terrell Brown based on performance is Tyreke Armstrong. And you can see Tyreke Armstrong's stats as well. So this feature is very useful, especially during the off season when you want to recruit or make some adjustments on your lineup. So you can see if you need a new player with similar characteristics to a different player, or you want to simply compare two players from your team to make decisions going forward. And the player search tool, which allows you to search for any player on the league and have a clear insight on the game by game of that player. So that is it for this section, search and compare. Let's proceed to the next section called rankings.